Hi Cancers, how are you? Welcome to your September 2017 reading, and definitely getting it to you all a lot earlier than I did in August. Again, sorry about that. So let's see what the cards have to say for you all for this month. Any messages for Cancer for September 2017? Let's see what comes up for you all. I'm definitely feeling kind of like frustrated. Like there's this feeling of frustration. And I'm just, okay, King of Wands. So this is the general energy. So King of Wands, definitely feeling like there's definitely some form of power or control that is being experienced, right? Like this is a very powerful card. The King of Wands is very much a leader, very much a ruler. But, you know, I don't know. The King of Wands also to me appears to be a court card. I mean, notice that his fist here is clenched and his face in the image, I don't know if you can see that, but it's very tense. Appears kind of frazzled. So while this King of Wands has a lot of power, there's also this sense of, there's also the sentiment that this king is sort of enforcing or having to kind of enforce and push his will upon others, if that makes any sense. So he's a forceful king. You know, he's a powerful king, but can be forceful. Is definitely a manifester, but are you kind of forcing things to happen right now, or are you just allowing them to manifest as they need to? So let's see what else. But I do see it as overall, you know, it's a good card, right, for general energy, because it does sort of represent power, right? It does represent, you know, creative power, leadership, creativity, things of that nature. So let's see what else is coming up. So next we have this King of Swords energy. I do feel this is another person, an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra that you're dealing with, or that you are sort of partnering up with, but we'll see what else the cards have to say. I feel that there is a lot for you all regarding career right now, and regarding like, what am I kind of like, how am I what am I building really for myself? Sort of, am I just kind of doing this job just to get by, or am I actually, that's kind of, and I feel there's some frustration, right? Like there's this desire to just want to kind of bust out and do your own thing, and be your own boss, essentially, right? So let's see what else is coming up for Cancers. I do like the King of Wands and the King of Swords together, because those are compatible energies, right? You know, the King of Swords is a visionary, and the King of Wands is able to kind of take those visions and create them and put them into the physical world. So it's compatible. It's compatible energy. And now we have the Page of Swords. There's a lot of air energy around you all. We've got some older air signs, some younger air signs. This Page of Swords also could represent, you know, new ideas sort of coming forth. Let's see what else is coming up for Cancer for September 2017. Cancer. Okay, well the cards don't really want to, oh, then we have the Lovers on the bottom. So, you know, is this a relationship that you're sort of, because I do really feel this to be you, right? And I do, you know, this Lover's card is here. And then underneath it, we have this Five of Cups. So possibly some disappointment, right, with a relationship with an air sign. And that actually, to me, you know, air energy, I'm an Aquarius sun with a Cancer moon, and even just within myself, there is conflict between my moon and my sun, right? My sun not being the most emotionally connected parts of myself, right? And then my moon being incredibly emotionally connected. But can you tell, I want more information about this King of Swords. Can you give me more info about this King of Swords? And then we have this page right next to him. So, yeah, there's something sort of withholding. Like this King of Swords is a bit withholding. They're not really willing to sort of give you what it is that you're asking for. And they feel kind of set in their ways. This is also a king, right? So this is the most evolved, you know, card of the air suit, of the suit of swords, right? The elements of air. And so once we kind of, you know, once you're in this, and if this King of Swords represents like an older person, an older companion, or an older male that some of you might be interested in, you know, you're really kind of, you know, now going into territory where people are kind of set in their ways, right? The older we get, the more sort of set in our ways we become. And I don't feel that this page is the same person as this king. I feel like these are two different people. So can I get more info on this Page of Swords, please? Who is this Page of Swords? The Magician. So possibly a Gemini. And that actually makes a lot of sense because the page, for me, is a Gemini in general. And the Magician card can definitely be a Gemini card. Also Aries, but, you know, is representative of Gemini. And so, you know, we have these two different energies here. The King of Swords maybe being an Aquarius, the page, you know, maybe being a Gemini. And there's this air energy that you're kind of playing with, that you're kind of not playing with in a bad way, but you're kind of like, oh, let's see, like, maybe I can date, you know, this, maybe let me try and see if I can date this type of energy, right? Like this kind of, you know, wanting to sort of step out and try something new. So let's see what else is going on for Cancer. Okay, we have the Sun. Beautiful card. Really nice. So we have the Sun card. Judgment. Got some major arcanas now that are coming out. We have the World. The Two of Wands. I'm gonna put that back underneath. King of Cups. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of suitors, you know, and I think there's a lot that you're just sort of playing with regarding your love life in terms of like, I'm just gonna sort of date different people. You have the strength card on the bottom, right? So again, I just definitely really feel that there is this sort of sense of, you know, there's this fieriness of trying to sort of push through what it is that you want to see happen in your life, possibly quite possibly in your love life. And I do also get this sense of like confidence, right? Confidence that is kind of comes from, you know, when you just get so frustrated, when you kind of are that person that is always the one that cares the most or gives the most fucks, or, you know, is trying to sort of always soften and appease everybody else's needs and desires. And then you just hit that point where you're like, no, I'm just going to do whatever I want. And then kind of out of that shift comes this sort of confidence, comes this sort of, you know, belief in your own power and your own ability. I definitely kind of am sensing that in this King of Wands energy. Let me I actually want to kind of get some clarity on this King of Wands energy for you all. So can you clarify the King of Wands for me before I move on? Can you clarify the King of Wands for me? Can you clarify the King of Wands? You know what? I'm not going to clarify it. It doesn't want to come out. So as I mentioned before, we have these two air. We have these. Don't mind my shirt. Sorry, I got it at a promotional event. I don't drink myself, but we have these two air energies. You have this King of Swords, this Page of Swords. I believe one to be an Aquarius, the other one to be a Gemini. The Aquarius, you know, this air energy, kind of holding back a bit, not really willing to sort of, you know, move things forward with you. But I don't really see you focusing too much. Like, I see you kind of looking away. Like, these people are here, and we have a lot of people here. We have this King, this Page, and this other King of Cups here. So there's some people here that, you know, I believe are trying to throw you some attention, throw you, you know, that you might slightly be interested in, but I don't really feel anything coming of it. And then this Page of Swords for me is a Gemini. And I do feel that there is definitely, you know, some intellectual compatibility here, that this Page might represent somebody who you can, you know, have great conversations with, and who, you know, you can share ideas with, and possibly even create out of those ideas, right? Like manifest some things from those ideas. But again, I don't feel that the energy is really compatible at the moment. We'll see, as we go along. The Sun card, you know, representing, again, you know, freedom, representing sort of a carefree sentiment, right? A carefree sort of vibe. So definitely getting the vibe that a lot of you are feeling sort of, you know, free at the moment, or you know, I'm definitely, like, you know, we have this Strength card at the bottom, we have this King of Wands, we have the Magician, we have the Sun, so I'm definitely sensing that some of you are possibly tapping into the fieriness, like some fieriness that you have within you. And for me, the Sun is a card that it kind of is a descriptor, right? It describes, you know, the nature of a situation, that that things are feeling very good. Can I get clarification for the Sun, please? Can I get clarification for the Sun? Queen of Wands. And on the bottom of that, you have the Queen of Swords. There's a lot of people all around you. So now we have this Queen of Wands. And I feel like this Queen of Wands is another person. And I feel like this person, you know, being clarified by the Sun, that this is sort of, you know, if you are interested in dating or in seeing people, that this is the person who you're kind of orbiting or revolving sort of your energy and time around right now. And this, and it appears that your energy and this person's energies are actually very compatible with one another at the moment. So I feel that whoever this queen is definitely is receiving a lot of attention from you. This relationship, this connection makes you feel very good. This connection makes you feel sort of free and like you haven't really experienced in a long time. And I know that Cancers have been kind of struggling with relationships lately, and especially with breaking, you know, old relationship patterns, and, you know, wanting to step away from doing the same thing over and like being in bondage to certain behaviors, right? And wanting like tired, you know, and Cancers, you know, and I say we because I feel very much like a Cancer, but we, you know, I definitely felt that in the beginning of last year, 2016, that there was this sort of sentiment, and even earlier this year, this sentiment that, you know, we were tired of being sick and tired when it came to relationships. And we were tired of feeling like we got the short end of the stick, and we were tired of feeling like, you know, we were putting ourselves out there and on the line for people that weren't really good for us, that weren't in our highest good. And so there was this desire to kind of shut yourself off, right? There was this period of time where I noticed a lot of Cancers sort of kind of close themselves off from being emotionally available or from dating or meeting new people. And so now I definitely am sensing that there is a presence, there is a person around you whose energy is compatible with yours. And they make you feel like this. You feel like this when you're with them. You feel like the sun. You know, not only do you revolve your energies around them, but you feel as though you are given attention. Like you are a highlighted part of their life as well, you know? So I think that's really beautiful. You know, I'm still a bit kind of baffled as, you know, these air energies that are just kind of here. You know, I feel that there are people that are kind of, you know, if you're sort of dating these people to mask whatever it is that you may be feeling for this person, I would suggest to kind of, you know, maybe cool it on that, right? That, you know, I do what you want. You know, if dating all these people really is what you want to do it. But don't, you know, if you end up finding this energy that's really compatible with yours, and you feel like this kid in the sun card, don't pass that up. You know, don't, you know, allow this to really come in and be front and center, right? So now we have this Judgment card, and the World. So a lot of major arcanas, and Gemini also got a lot of, Gemini's entire reading was like major arcanas, and it was very much based on love or romance, right? But we have this Judgment card here. And Judgment usually speaks of a time in your life, a period of time, a moment, when we feel that we have to sort of answer to or answer for things that we have done. And the World for me also represents like the closing out of a cycle. but in a good way, in a way that kind of shows that you've learned the lessons. But let's get some clarifiers on this, because for me, major arcanas are larger themes, larger, you know, it's a bigger picture, and I kind of, there are larger themes that can have many, many different symbolisms, and I kind of want to get down to the nitty gritty of what's going on. So can I have clarification for the Judgment card, please? You know, you don't want to be too general. So the Eight of Cups was what came out in clarification for Judgment. I feel that you all are sort of being, and Judgment can also, you know, represent being incredibly critical of oneself. And I feel with this Eight of Cups that a lot of you are walking away from whatever the situation is. Like, you're not allowing yourselves, like, you feel this, but then you're not really allowing yourselves, you know. I think there's definitely a sentiment of, almost needing to kind of punish oneself. Can I get more clarification on the Judgment card? Can we get more clarity on the Judgment card, please? Okay. So I feel that there's this sort of belief, or this, you know, that you need to, you need to go out and do some things on your own still. That you have things that you're trying to accomplish, and you just need to go out and do things on your own. And maybe the Judgment card also comes up as a, you know, as a moment in your life where you're recognizing, I have things that I need to do. And let's think, where did the solar eclipse occurred in your second house, I believe. So new ideas, and I'm going back to the eclipses, because we don't just have an eclipse or a full moon or a new moon or these astrological events and then that's it. We have them and then they're gone. Like, there are energies, there are takeaways, there are things that we're supposed to learn and kind of work with these energies for like the next 40 to 60 days. You know, who knows how long for each person, but, you know, at least the next month, you're going to be really still feeling the energies of the eclipse, right? And so with the eclipse, which just happened on the 21st, with that new moon in Leo occurring in your second house, there was definitely a lot of, you know, new beginnings regarding your self-worth, yes, you know, your ideas about your self-worth, but also your ideas about how, the ways in which you generate your own income, the ways in which you sort of support yourself, and the ways in which you are self-sufficient. And I think a lot of Cancers are, you know, and number one, just because you are a sensitive person, just because you have Cancerian water energy within you, right, which makes you a sensitive person, just because you have that does not mean that you are needy, does not mean that you are weak, does not mean that you are, you know, not good enough. And I feel that this Judgment card, you know, I think that in the wake of a lot of Cancers, you know, sort of having to navigate a series of relationship issues, or sort of feeling rejected over and over and over again by these different energies, right? Like these air energies, like, you know, we have this King of Swords who's holding everything back, right? And this Page of Swords, this Gemini, who, yes, can be very interesting, but is also incredibly flighty, right? Can be a bit flighty, is also a bit more consumed with his own abilities and powers, right? You ever dated somebody like that, who they're just really kind of all about themselves and what they, you know, and good for them, but then don't date me, you know? Don't date. So there's these energies here that feel kind of cold to the touch, and feel a bit sort of withdrawn and kind of self-absorbed at the moment, right? And then we have this energy here that seems to be really compatible with yours, right? But then again, it's like, you know, this King of Wands phase that you all are in, you know, is this really you, or is this sort of a mask that you're sort of putting on, right? Are we now deciding that, well, we are the ones that have to change and be different, right? In order to not have to confront these energies that are kind of cold, right? And you know, and I know that I've done this, you know, where I'll be incredibly hard on myself about how relationships have turned out, or it's all my fault, I'm too sensitive, I'm too needy, and I'm actually really none of those things. But I do such a good job at picking up other people's shit, right? So I'm definitely picking up on, you know, a lot of you being incredibly hard on yourselves regarding your love lives. And really sort of imposing and forcing yourselves to be alone just to prove that you can be alone, just to prove that there's that you have some kind of independence, right? Like, it's almost as if, like, there's this desire to be this fiery energy. You're not a fire sign, you're a water sign. You're not a fire sign. You're a water sign. You're sensitive. You're emotionally connected. You're empathetic. You're nurturing. You're caring, right? Like, these are the aspects of a water sign. Also, incredibly intuitive, artistic, talented, can see through people's bullshit because we can see through the bullshit, right? As people with strong water in our charts. So, you know, trying to force yourself to be, right, alone, right? Because all of these cards are alone. These cards represent to me people who are journeying by themselves. But I'm feeling like it's an overkill. It's an overkill of, like, you know, really trying to prove something to yourself. And I feel like this Fool card, you know, Gemini got this Fool card. And for me, it was a straight up mask when it came out to me. It was like, yeah, the Fool card came out, but it's not really what's going on. This is not really how y'all are really feeling, right? And so I'm wondering for you all, you know, is this Fool card really how y'all are really feeling, right? Or is this like a mask, right? Or is this just this, or is this a disguise, you know, for the sort of somber, this sort of somberness that's really sort of existing within you. But yeah, I feel that there's some harsh judgment that y'all are placing on yourselves regarding the way that you do relationships and the way that you get attached to people. And that, you know what, it's okay to be attached to people. You know, you keep sort of attracting these people who don't really want to be attached. Because, you know, for whatever fucked up reasons that they have, right? Or not fucked up, who knows, right? But you keep sort of attracting these people, and then you're frustrated, right? But there is this energy here. You know, I kind of want to get more clarification. Can I have more clarification on this Queen of Wands, please? Yeah, so this Queen of Wands, she's they, them, she, he, whoever this person is very independent. Is in their own abundance, right? And there's a huge difference between this energy and this energy, right? It's almost as if this person is desperate to hang on to whatever it is that they have. Because if they were to let it go, it would almost kind of delete or sort of erase their identity, right? Like if these pentacles were to somehow disappear from this man, that he would just crumble to the floor into dust and would no longer exist because he doesn't have his pentacles anymore. And, you know, when we're talking especially about air signs, and I can definitely say this because I'm an Aquarius sun, that there is this tendency with air signs to use detachment as a defense mechanism, to use detachment or the appearance, it's an appearance, it's not real, the appearance of detachment as a defense mechanism against like actually having to become vulnerable with somebody, which is not easy for the air, you know, the air archetypes to really get down with. I lost my train of thought, sorry. But meanwhile, so yes, detachment is a defense mechanism for air signs in a lot of ways. Libra, not so much, because Libras really vibe off of harmonizing with other people. But there still is like it's two individuals coming together to harmonize, but there really isn't this merging that doesn't really happen until we get into Scorpio. The merging happens, you know, once we get into Scorpio, but the harmony of two people dancing together and sort of playing off one another, there still is this air of like, I am me and you are you, and we come together and we harmonize, but we don't lose our individual sense of self, right? We're not merging quite yet, as we're going to once we hit Scorpio and that 8th house. But you know, this Queen of Wands, this person is incredibly independent and has a lot of abundance, and really, you know, is pretty content with or without you. You know, they're pretty content with or without you. I do feel that they are attracted to you, and they're definitely vibing off your energies, and they're definitely vibing off of, you know, there's some compatibility that's here. But still, I don't feel that there's a closeness. Like, I feel that this is sort of an attraction that's occurring from afar. It's an attraction that's occurring from afar, but, you know, and I do feel that, you know, y'all are being incredibly judgmental of your own selves. You know, it's like you're getting involved with people who are emotionally unavailable, and then you're getting mad at yourself for, you know, or you're getting involved with people that have attachment issues and want to be detached, and then you're mad at yourself when you're doing what you do as a water sign, which is, you know, getting attached, which I think is actually a really beautiful thing, because how else are we to learn and love and grow unless we actually develop attachments? You know, I used to really be hard on myself about developing attachments, especially the men that I was dating. And then I realized, like, but wait, I'm actually just doing what my heart wants to do. It wants to love, and it wants to be close, and it wants to merge, and it wants to feel with this person. And I don't think that's a bad thing, right? But there's a lot of ideas about what you should be doing, and I think it's kind of an overkill. So we have this the world here. Can I get some clarity for the world? That's too much. That's too much. That's way too much. Can I get clarity for the world, please? Okay. So I think that was the Tower. Yes, the Tower. So the Tower's been coming up for a lot of people. And I think it really has to do with the fact that, like, yes, while this Tower card is a very Scorpio card, I do get hints of Virgo when I pick up the Tower. Excuse me. And the reason why I say that is because Virgo, you know, has no interest in things, people, places, or things that do not serve a purpose, that do not serve their highest good, that do not have a function, a positive, healthy function, right? And so when Virgo season comes around, especially when we have something, you know, especially when we're going to have Mars moving into Virgo, or is it already there? I don't know. I think it's already there. But when we're having Mars in Virgo especially, there is this sense of scrutiny and this sense of discernment that comes into play. There is this sense of really being mindful about how we're going about doing what we're doing, right? And I feel that the Tower, like anything, you know, the Tower represents foundations that are not firm being sort of destroyed, right? Or that are things that are built on faulty foundations being destroyed in order to build anew. And I definitely feel like Virgo wants to come in and break things down from the bottom up and really look at, well, are any and all of these aspects of any purpose or of any function, right? And so we have the World here. Again, another major arcana. And we have two other major arcanas here. So y'all are just, and they're very similar to the major arcanas that came up for Geminis. So we have the World here. And I do really feel this as being representing the closing out of cycles. The closing out, the ending of, you know, the ending of feeling like love has to feel like this is what I'm picking up on. Right? That sometimes relationships can feel like this, especially to a Cancer, to a water sign, you know, when we're putting ourselves on the line and we're falling in love with people, or we're becoming emotionally involved and invested with people who kind of are sticking to this energy, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and we're falling more and more and more, and they're holding on more and more and more, then eventually shit can just start to feel like this, you know? So I do feel that the universe is trying to let you know that, you know, the cycle is completed. Like things don't have to feel like this anymore. We can free you, because the World to me also represents freedom, right? Freedom from, you know, fill in the blank. And so I feel that the universe is trying to sort of free you from this feeling, right? That sometimes we end up living in this feeling, and that it's really uncomfortable, you know, and that it's safe. It's safe to, well, and I do feel that as, you know, as a result of going through these aspects here, these relationships here, there was an emotional mastery that occurred. You know, one of the biggest, you know, when I've read descriptions on, especially if your moon is in Cancer, some of the biggest descriptions that I've read about, you know, the advice that I've read that's been given forth to people that have their moon in Cancer is, you know, our biggest task in life is to learn how to control and master our emotions so that they're not constantly throwing us around all the time. Because our emotions can be so powerful that we end up losing the ability to we can't reason sometimes, right? Like we're here all the time. And then when we're here all the time, we begin to blame the relationships, or, you know, the being in the relationship and being with this person is what's causing all this shit, when it's really our inability to control and master our own emotions. That's what the problem really is. So, you know, so you can be alone, right? You can walk away from whatever abundance is before you. Because sometimes with the Eight of Cups, you know, yeah, it's about walking away and feeling unfulfilled, but sometimes it's premature. Sometimes we walk away before we actually are called to walk away, you know, and then we end up regretting it later on. But I'm definitely sensing this overwhelming, you know, energy of like, it's the relationship's fault. I'm going to be alone. But, you know, in that process, there has to be a realization that it really had nothing to do with the quote unquote relationships, right? That this sense of up and down and this sense of being thrown from the tower constantly might actually be a result of our lack of emotional mastery. And that's okay. We're still learning. I don't think I know a single person who has mastered their emotions, right? But, you know, whatever relationship issues, whatever issues manifested or came about as a result of being in relationships were necessary in order to develop some emotional mastery. To become the King of Cups, right? This is who you are. There are aspects of yourself that do, yes, include this King of Wands. But who you are at the core is this King of Cups, right? You're this King of Cups. And I'm beginning to feel why there's kind of some distance, right? That yes, while these energies are compatible, but this is not really who you kind of are. So you're kind of presenting yourself, or, you know, yeah, presenting yourself to be in a certain way that, you know, it's only kind of temporary for the time being. And yes, like I said before, we have each element within us. We have fire, we have earth, water, air. We all have it all within us. Some more than others, right? And I definitely, for those of us that are Cancer moon, Cancer sun, Cancer rising even, we've got a lot of water in us. We've got some cups going on. We've got some emotions. You know, and this is who you are. And that's okay. That's fine, right? It's fine to be here. Now we have this Devil card here. And, you know, let's get some clarification, because I am seeing a relationship here, but I want to be clear. So can I get some clarification for the Devil card? Can I get some clarification for the Devil card, please? High Priestess. Okay. Just a little bit more clarification. Can I get some more clarification? Okay. Well, so we have the High Priestess and the Knight of the Page of Wands here. So I'm reading this as intuitive messages. And even, you know, information because this high priestess, she has a lot of knowledge and she knows a lot of things, but she doesn't really let on right to it. And this quite possibly could represent taking whatever knowledge this high priestess has, whatever intuitive knowledge, psychic knowledge, spiritual downloads that are being received through this high priestess, and taking them out and expressing them. Right? This devil card is still kind of, it's being a bit elusive at the moment. Can I get clarification for the devil? Why is the devil card here? Okay. So the devil, can represent, the devil card for me can sometimes represent destiny and things that, need to come in for us to experience. I definitely, and another sign got this combination with the 8 of Wands and the 4 of Cups. I think it was Aries. I still see you all sort of on this trip of I'm going to be alone. And that's fine. I see these 8 of Wands. This devil card to me represents sort of destiny or, events that need to sort of happen, right? Because it also represents Saturn to me. Saturn, Capricorn. Events in our lives that need to occur. And we can try and put them off or avoid them or ignore them. But, and that's actually the same message that I got with these 2 cards, but I just, it's to me, it's the same thing, right? But I do see this devil card, this sort of destiny-like energy, the universe, right? Saturn still trying to communicate with you and send you, there's opportunities available, but I don't really see you all taking them. I still see you all kind of sitting back and not really making any moves, not really doing anything. Can I get an outcome card for Cancer for September 2017? Outcome card for Cancer, September 2017. Let's succumb for Cancer. Okay, that's a lot. There we go. The Emperor. So I do see a lot of you stepping into, I see this energy sort of transforming, and I do see a lot of you stepping into the Emperor, right? And really feeling in charge, really just really trying to take back control, right? And sort of having mastery of your own physical life and the events that are sort of occurring in your own physical life. So I do see this as a really great outcome for you all. Like I see a lot of you sort of standing up and getting on top of, whatever problems are going on for you at the moment, right? Definitely getting on top of this energy, this Tower energy here. So yeah, I see you all just really being in charge and the masters of your own lives. And continuing to really explore that fire energy that you've been experiencing and just really exploring, that aspect of yourself, but don't forget that you are also the King of Cups. All right, Cancer. So that is your reading. I hope that made sense. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can email me at tattoosandtarot@gmail.com. And if you have booked a reading with me previously on my website, which is tattoosandtarot.com, please send me an email so we can make a time to actually do your reading and you know, sit and talk either over the phone or Skype or whatever. Because the thing is that when you purchase a reading from me on my website via PayPal, what ends up happening is I can't contact you because PayPal will not allow me to contact buyers. And so unless you email me and give me your information, I have no idea how to get in touch with you, what your question is, how to send you the reading, yada, yada, yada. So if you purchased a reading with me recently, please send me an email so we can make a time to actually do a reading together. Yeah, I hope you all like this reading. And remember, it's general, so it may not apply to everybody. And I will see you all next month. All right, bye, Cancers.